Hello everybody, welcome back to Max Reviews, and today we will be ranking all 7 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett, a show that has been extremely mixed on, because there's some really good episodes in there, and then there's some just bad episodes that don't go anywhere with there. And another thing, other than the episodes, is also the narrative and story and how it mixes everything up. We have, in my mind, we have our three main episodes, our first 3 episodes where we have Boba Fett and then the Tuskens and then the regular stuff, and then episode 4 sort of transition, introducing us to Fennec Shand, and then the final 3 episodes where we have all this weird stuff going on. So I'm gonna rank them. Leave your ranking down below. This is Max Reviews. I'm Brayden, and let's get started. Coming in 7th place here, unfortunately, is gonna be On the Streets of Mos Espa, Book of Boba Fett, episode 3. And this episode, it just felt sort of out of place, because in this episode, not a whole bunch happens. We have Boba Fett, and in the modern day, we have him going to get these cyborg people who really, I feel they feel out of place. I don't like them at all. And then he sort of teams up with them, and then they go, and then Black Krrsantan comes, sort of attacks Boba Fett. And that just, like, how did Krrsantan get in? And all this weird stuff that comes up with that. And then you have the twins come, which the twins were this weird thing that I do not know why the twins were even in the Book of Boba Fett in the end. They did not need to be there. You get the Rancor introduced, and then you get also this final not a battle, but a chase, which didn't really work for me either, as you have this goofy Tweckel character who is running away very goofily and, like, cheesy from these cyborgs that I don't care about. And then he says, like, the mayor is the reason. And then you get to and that's where it ends. And it's just, I did not like this episode. It was, like, the weakest one for me. And it ended, and I was just like, and then in the Tusken Raider place, where episode 2, amazing episode. I loved what they did. Episode 2, all the Tusken Raiders get killed. I mean, episode 3, this episode, they all get killed, which I thought that was going somewhere. And you get to the end of the season, and it goes nowhere. Like, none of them survived, and all that time that he learned with the Tuskens did not work. And this is one of the big things, because he has an army with the Tuskens, and that's what he's looking for, and none of the Tuskens survive. So I was really frustrated by this episode, and it's where the show sort of went, this was my least favorite episode. 6th place, we have The Gathering Storm, and I still don't know why this episode is here. It doesn't make a lot of sense. This is basically, to sum it up, the Fennec Shand episode that introduces her character and catches us up all with a backstory with how we met her and Mando and all that stuff, and then catches us up to her and how we get his armor back and fills in all the gaps, which I don't think they needed to do for the Book of Boba Fett, Fennec Shand. And one of the things with Fennec Shand is she has nothing. She basically is like, okay, I'm with you, Boba Fett. And she has no character arc, no themes, nothing very big going on with her. And that's frustrating, because she could be this amazing character. She could have these thoughts on everything. She's basically just there to give exposition, or hand Boba Fett something, or do a little cool shoot thing, some cool sniping or something. But she doesn't do anything. So when you have this episode that's centered around her and Boba Fett, these two characters who they don't do anything really. They get his armor, and just this was a frustrating episode too. Nothing really happened, and it just played catch up. And then I'm like, okay, we're ready to go somewhere with this show, and we didn't. And where it ends, they get all the guys together, all these lords, and are like, okay, will you not betray us? And they're like, sure. And then they betray him, 3 episodes later? And so this is another frustrating episode. Fifth place, we have the final episode, In the Name of Honor, which it had some okay action in it. That's what I could say for it. The Rancor stuff was okay. Seeing Cad Bane and Boba Fett fight was cool. But other than that, this episode perfectly reflected this show as a whole because it has stuff that should work. And if you had set everything up well, then this could work. But you didn't set anything up. You rushed through the final 3 episodes, and that doesn't work for this show. It doesn't work. When you have the first 4 episodes sort of slower, nice and slow, and then you speed up these next 3 episodes and sort of get to the finale, it does not work. And you get all the villains killed, but you don't care about it. Cad Bane is killed, and you feel, oh no, this cool guy that just got introduced at the last episode is killed, but he's probably not, so don't really feel anything for that. And these weird scorpion droids, they show up, but why are they here? And the Rancor, that does not work. This one should probably be lower, but I'm just going to leave it here. It had some cool enough action, but other than that, this episode was a big disappointment that just showed the reason why the show doesn't work in this situation. And now, fourth place, we have A Stranger in Strange Lands, our first episode that, when it kicks off, I thought it was okay start quite to the show, quite a bit slower, but it was fine. We got to see Boba Fett, a little catch up, and then I'm like, okay, we can get going now because it was going way too slow. And they never caught it up, so this episode didn't really age well. But it's still okay to watch it and be like, okay, this is cool to see Boba Fett in the Sarlacc pit, and then also to see Boba Fett doing the stuff, getting ready with the crime lords. But if you think about it, not a whole bunch happens here with the action, with the characters. It doesn't seem like we're going anywhere, which is fine for the first episode, but they didn't just immediately like, oh, I'm into the show, I am sold, I'm watching every episode. No, this episode was like, okay, this is cool, let's see where it's going, and then it didn't go anywhere. So, another frustrating episode. Before we get into the top 3, comment down below your list. I know a lot of people did like what they were doing in the first 3-4 episodes. I did like that, but some of the stuff didn't go there, and I was more interested in the newer stuff that was happening with Mando and Luke and all that. So, leave your comment down below. I'd love to see it, and hit the like button, subscribe. And coming in third place here is going to be the Tribes of Tatooine, a solid episode that just showed us mostly back in time with Boba Fett and the Tuskens fighting the Pikes, and then them getting all together and having this fight with the Pikes, him learning to be part of the Tuskens, the stuff with him making the Bantha stick works really well, him teaching the Tuskens didn't work as well on first watch, but on rewatch, I think it's okay. And so, I enjoy this episode. The problem here is the modern day stuff where you have the twins introduced and Black Krrsantan, and I thought that was cool. Okay, nice to see the twins, nice to see Black Krrsantan, and what's going on with that. It didn't really go anywhere, but it was nice, I guess. So, it didn't frustrate me. I had a fun time with it. It was long enough. And so, I enjoyed this episode, and I just wish... I think the show would have worked better if it was the Book of Boba Fett, if we just spent our time with the Tuskens. Maybe that would have worked better. Because where this show went with him trying to take over Mos Espa, and why? Why does he care about Mos Espa? We don't really have a reason to that, and I think it's because of the Tuskens, but this show should have been just about Boba Fett and the Tuskens. Okay, second place we have The Return of the Mandalorian, which seems like it is not in the same show. But I did enjoy it a lot more than the actual episode. No, the actual show for the Book of Boba Fett. Because this is the Book of Boba Fett, but this feels like Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1. And in the Book of Boba Fett, I don't care, is the main thing. I don't care about most anything that's going on here. This episode, I care. Getting a new Razor Crest. Mando, what he's going to do about Grogu. If he's going to do it. Getting just this really... I think it was a solid episode. Does it deserve to be in the Book of Boba Fett? No. but it was a good episode. I think this was my favorite episode until you'll see the next one. But this one, I know some people didn't like it, but I enjoyed it. It didn't deserve to be in the Book of Boba Fett, not one bit. But it's still a solid episode with Mando and just this cool thing with learning the Darksaber and then just building the ship. Sort of a lot more like Mandalorian than Book of Boba Fett. But coming in first place is going to be From the Desert Comes a Stranger, our 6th episode that I enjoyed a ton. I know people 100% did not like this because you have two sort of people for the Book of Boba Fett. You have the people that are invested in him and the Tuskens and the modern day and everything that's going on with that. And if you're invested in that, then that's destroyed. That Tuskens die, don't care about, and even if you do care about the villains and everything, they don't do it really good justice. But I cared about Mando, Grogu, what was going on with that. Cobb Vanth was great to see, and then Cad Bane at the end was great for this episode. So this is the episode that I really enjoyed, because I know this does not deserve to be in Boba Fett. No, the Book of Boba Fett. It does not. And I understand 100% if you don't like this episode and you hate this episode, because it doesn't work in the Book of Boba Fett. Some people might not like what they did with Luke and everything, and Ahsoka and destroying character arcs, but I enjoyed this quite a bit more than the rest of the season, because it was great to see Luke in his prime with Grogu. The VFX look a lot better. Ahsoka, I guess it's cool to see her. I don't think she needed to be here, but it was cool to see her. Cad Bane, what they did with him with episode 7 didn't really work with me, but in this episode, just seeing him, so cool. And then in having Cobb Vanth there, and then that's cool to see him back. And the music in this is really good. So I enjoy this, even though this episode shows Boba Fett for like 30 seconds. It's my favorite episode. Leave your list down below. I know a bunch of people are going to disagree, but some people might agree. So leave your list down below. Thank you for watching. I'm Brayden. This is Max Reviews. Book of Boba Fett. Very frustrating, but I added some nice parts to it. Brayden out.